Hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire, a show that sparks truth, culture, and conversation, hosted by Hunter Thundercloud and Aaron Funmaker. This is Control.
And Caprice Garcia.
So we're on our show today. We have Caprice Garcia. She's one of our um, admins, and
I'm the chief
Chief.
operating officer
Yes.
at Thundermaker.
Very good.
Yeah. Mescalero Apache tribe. I've spent the past 5-6 years working in behavioral health, helping our relatives, going through policies and procedures, and then I have a degree in addiction counseling as well.
She's one of the things that makes our rehab function well. Without her, we probably wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. And I think when you start projects or new projects, you need people that know their jobs really well, and she does. I mean, we want to talk about some therapy modalities today that we're using in our center, just to kind of educate people.
Yeah. And I think rather than modalities, talking about approach in general,
And-
especially how we see it, right? We see the world as monetary, and we see the struggles that nations have with getting people to treatment in general.
Wait, before we go too far, maybe you should give a little history of who you are, like your backstory.
Yeah, for sure. I'm an addict myself, so I spent a lot of my early adulthood struggling with addiction. I got clean in 2019. My family was removed from our culture for a really long time, and one of the last things my grandpa did before he left was share that gift with me. And so meeting Arrow and Hunter has been really it's creator sent for sure. Being able to get back into culture and get back into healing in a different way that I didn't know that I needed. I got clean, but I wasn't healed all the way. So being with these guys and on this journey has been really important to me.
Yeah, I mean, Arrow's really good at bringing people in and allowing them to have access to culture in a safe way. I mean, how do you do that, Arrow?
Building community. I think that's one of the most important things we do at Thundermaker is we want to create a healthy community of like-minded people that are there to support one another and help each other on this journey of recovery. And it's not just about the relatives that are coming to get help. It's the staff. It's the whole makeup of what we are. Like we don't really see this as some kind of a business venture, more of a home, not just for relatives, but for all of us as employees, as family, as community. The only way we're able to heal is by community, and really that's what we're trying to build. That's what we have built, and Caprice is a vital member of that community and keeps most of us in check. We have a very strong female presence at Thundermaker, and Caprice is definitely one of those strong presence.
And I mean, even at Thundermaker, I mean, we don't always believe in traditional modalities, but it's still important to um, use best practices. And I think Caprice has been able to teach at least me some of that, or the ideas of them, because there's so many, and really, I think going to school and having access to people that are therapists or working under them allows you to learn that, right?
Yeah. And I feel like that was one of our vital growing points. Everybody at Thundermaker has a different skill, right? We all have something that we're really, really good at. And when we bring it together, that's when we make the magic happen. And this last year, when we were developing that curriculum, like we saw how important it was to bring some of these modalities into the vision that we had, because not only does it brings some validity in the clinical world, but it also gives us a baseline and it also gives us something to work with. Being able to adapt those into culturally appropriate and letting people choose their path has been really magical to see.
Well, and intertwine it with, traditional healing, right, Arrow?
Yeah, I think that's been one of the most amazing things to be able to witness and see is taking the traditional cultural knowledge and finding ways to braid that into common best practices on what most rehabs are doing, and to be able to see that adaptation happen, I think has been pretty amazing. And even seeing what it's linked to, like a lot of our like we a lot of people are doing sound therapy and things like that, and I think acknowledging and recognizing, the meaning behind the drum and the songs that we have, and seeing the kind of connection between what people have been using in the past that really didn't, I guess, have a name or like a real connection, and then realizing, wait, our traditions have been a part of this recovery world for a very long time. And I think having that acknowledgement and being able to see that has been something huge. And like, Hunter was saying, Caprice is like, well, the whole team, but Caprice has definitely been this vital role of, combining best practices and, all these modern tools that recovery uses, and bringing the cultural component, and creating this amazing program that we have. It's been incredible.
I mean, Caprice, how do you think it's been trying to create um, culturally sensitive and culturally relevant, I guess, therapeutic models in Bradian? I mean, when you first started, did you imagine this is what we'd be doing?
That was the vision, right? We wanted to braid everything together. I think when it really impacted me was when we spent a lot of time together in a group using all of our knowledge to integrate it into this curriculum that we were writing. Having everybody there and having a say, but not changing the basic structure of some of these evidence-based practices, but just allowing the space to bring in this traditional healing was really important. I think what a lot of people don't see is that, treatment centers say they use best practices and they say they're interweaving stuff, but it is side by side. It's not integrated. And that's really what we did when we made the Thundermaker curriculum. We're not saying you're going to have a group where you do, CBT or, DBT, or you're doing relapse prevention, and then you're going to go here and you're going to go practice these traditional healing practices, or, have a traditional healer speak with you. We took those and we said, okay, they're going to be in this group doing a CBT module, but then we're also going to bring all those traditional healing practices and that ancestral wisdom and show how it's correlated.
So, what is CBT? Or CBT?
CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. It's one of the first therapy modalities. I mean, it's used very prominently in the substance use and mental health. It's about changing your cognitive ways, changing your behaviors, and intertwining them. So like we use that and DBT, we use mindfulness. These are all common practices that you'll hear at every place that you go. The difference is that we have those components where it makes it adaptable to what we're doing. So they're very common.
And well, it sounds like we have a break coming up. We'll be back in a few seconds.
Oh.
Oh, it says 30 seconds left.
Hey, welcome back to Controlled Fire, and here's your host, Hunter Thundercloud and Arrow Funmaker.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So, Caprice, we kind of left off on therapy modalities.
Yeah. Yeah, you were asking specifically about CBT.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean,
didn't want to get into it before we had time to think about it and talk about it because it's going to,
well, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, because I think when people are listening to things like this, do they really know what that is?
Do you guys know what it is?
I mean, kind of. I should, right?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty basic the way that we approach things, right? It's a therapy modality that focuses on thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And if you change one of those, it changes the relationship with the other, right? So if you change your thoughts about something, it changes your feelings and your behaviors about that same instance. So it's really about, it's really thinking about it's not what happened to somebody, but it's about how they interpret it and how they internalize it.
Can you give us an example?
I mean, so let's say someone had a traumatic event happen to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If their thoughts about it are negative, maybe they have thoughts of like, I deserve for this to happen,
Mm-hmm.
or I wasn't good enough in this situation. That affects their feelings about it, right? So they feel sad and guilt. And then their behaviors about it might be isolation or self sabotage or doing something against themselves. So if you change one of those, right? If you change their thoughts to be like, I didn't deserve for this to happen, but it did happen,
Mm-hmm.
then their feelings about it change a little bit, right? They might still be sad, but it doesn't lead to the behaviors that they were exhibiting.
Mm-hmm. And this is kind of like learning another coping mechanism. Is that what it is? Or understanding maybe why we have some of the traumas or reactions to it?
So it's not necessarily a coping mechanism. We're doing cognitive reframing. So we're
Mm-hmm.
changing the way people think about things. So it can be like generational things, like if your family was really negative about something and then you inherited that negativity, it's going to affect the way that you behave and think about life, right? If you had something really bad happen to you and you have negative thoughts and feelings around it, it's going to affect the way that you behave in the future. So when we have people coming in that have substance use problems, a lot of their life is traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
Some of their backstories are traumatic. They've had situations or activating events that have happened that they see in a very negative light. And we see this really commonly with people that come into
Mm-hmm.
treatment, right? They're really negative about everything that happened. They don't come in and they say, this thing happened, but it's okay. I'm going to move forward. It's a lot of like, this thing happened to me. I'm not going to get over it. It's going to continue to happen. All those thoughts. So if we can help cognitively reframe how they see those things, then we're able to let them heal and move forward from those things. We're not erasing it. We're not getting rid of it. We're helping them process through it.
And it's kind of like we understand the emotions around it, and then we feel them so that when they come up, we're able to handle them. Is that it or no?
Yeah, or change the feelings about it, or just being able to handle the feelings in general. A lot of people that come into recovery don't even know what their feelings are. They can't identify like right now I'm feeling really upset or overwhelmed. It's more just blah, I have all these feelings.
Sure.
They're either good blahs or bad blahs, and we
It-
just have to kind of help them identify those.
It's true. It's like you kind of only understand the big ones, like like anger, sadness, maybe happiness, but there's all these um, smaller feelings that you can identify, right? Like being overwhelmed. I don't know,
Hmm.
bliss,
Hmm.
right? But they don't really understand those words yet, or because they don't understand the feeling, right? Because
Yeah.
it's been so numb for so long.
Well, it's finding new ways to process and react to many of those emotions, right?
Hmm.
Whereas normally we'd become angry if something didn't go our way, or if somebody had a negative thing to say about us, we're going to react out of anger. Whereas what you're saying is it creates a new avenue for us to find ways to react and or not react, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
or just finding new ways to understand what's going on inside our heads, because sometimes we don't know.
And so this is a best practice. I mean, it's something that insurance companies allow us to do.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something they use for a lot of things. They use it for anger management, they use it for substance use, they use it for mental health. Like this is something that's been around for a really long time. People know it, people use it, but then us, we
Mhm.
took it and adapted it, right?
Mhm.
We take those ancestral thoughts and that ancestral wisdom, and then we put it in there.
Mhm.
So being able to bring back some of our culture and using it as a strength while they're changing their thoughts or behaviors or their feelings about something is something that they can carry with them.
Well, like, you know, a long time ago, we'd sit and have conversations with elders and different spiritual leaders, and you know, they had opportunities to learn ways to do things, but that's not really present anymore within our communities. You know, most of our people that we see coming into our doors, you know, that it's the same narrative as, well, I didn't have an opportunity to sit with certain elders or certain teachers or spiritual leaders or educators. And I think, you know, bringing these things into what we're doing now is a new way to incorporate that. As you know, you are sitting with somebody that has a little more knowledge than you, somebody that can pass on these teachings, and a part of it is that these modalities that we're utilizing, you know, we're just interpreting it into a modern way.
Mhm.
The cool thing about modalities is they're not a recipe to fix someone,
Mhm.
right? If we could fix someone, we would, you know,
Mhm.
but we can't. Um it's about giving the space to be able to utilize these tools and have people that are there for them and safe and comfortable so that they're allowed to use, CBT and change their thoughts or explore their behaviors with someone who knows a little bit more about their behaviors, or explore their feelings about certain things that maybe, Arrow has a little more knowledge about. And that's really what it comes down to.
Just creating the safe space. Creating the safe space.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, I guess that's the idea of Thundermaker. It's a safe place for natives. You know, they, yeah,
Yeah, that's what it is. We're creating a home, you know. I think what's kind of incredible is what we've built and provided. It's not, like we've said this before, we don't really look at ourselves as a treatment center per se, more of like an educational piece, you know, like a safe place, a home. You know, we welcome each of our relatives that come in. We say that, we say welcome home, and that's really what we're trying to do, is we're trying to provide a home, a house. You know, you grow at home. You know, we learn skills, we learn coping mechanisms, we learn all these things, whether it be positive or negative, at home. So us building this new home, this new community of like-minded people, where the foundation is based on traditional principles, healthy choices, healthy foods, healthy people, healthy men, healthy women, you know, and incorporating that into this home environment for our relatives that are coming to get help. And you know, we're able to incorporate all these different things, to provide this foundation. You know, you're not going to build a home made of burnt down pieces of a previous home. You know, you're going to redo the entire structure, the entire foundation. And really, that's what we've been able to do, is we've created a brand new foundation. You know what I mean? We've went out and harvested the materials and made the prayer and made the offering, and done all these things. And really, that's the foundation that we're living on today, is this home style environment for our people. And with the staff that we've been able to build, is we've created this amazing foundation that we're able to incorporate all these new things that people are like, oh, this is new, but it's not. It's ancestral knowledge, like she said.
and like when they're using these, is this like peer to peer, or is it on an individual basis? Just
It can be any way, right? We do it in groups. We have people challenge each other. We have people um, give new behaviors. It's really cool to see guys in a group and the one guy will express his, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and the other guy just calls him out and is like, hey, like that's not true. You say you're not good enough or you say that you deserve that, and the other guy goes over there and shows support and says, that should not have happened to you. It's not okay, but it did happen and we're going to move forward. And it's really special to see all these guys get together and be emotionally supportive.
And that's a community, right, Arrow? I mean,
yeah.
you're building a safe place where that people are able to lean on each other.
Oh yeah, and we've said this before. If you're in a real community, you can't hide. Like our community here. If I'm having a rough day and I'm going through something mentally, everybody's gonna see it. So you really don't have these corners or these places to go hide and not deal with your stuff because everybody's here communally. And we see that. We can see the change.
Even though these people come in broken, right? Broken. They have substance use problems. Their home wasn't where they wanted to be. Everybody comes in with a strength. It takes a village to heal. And it's not just dependent on us that have the knowledge or the education, but it's the strength of the community in general.
Well, with that, we're going to take a break.
Hey, this is Controlled Fire. We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back to Controlled Fire. I'm your host, Arrow Funmaker, with Hunter Thundercloud and Caprice Garcia.
Hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So we ended the last segment talking about the strengths of that ancestral wisdom and traditions. Do you guys want to talk about what those are and why they're important and what they look like and what they bring to the table as we're culturally adapting our curriculum?
Arrow does.
Let's start like in the group room, right? When we're in the group room, we come in, we do a blessing, we get together, right? And that's pretty much how we start every day, every group.
Yeah, we're not just bringing in certain things. Like we actually actively participate in everything that we do, every ceremony, every cultural component that we bring into Thundermaker. Like we participate as a community, as a family, as a circle, as a group. We sweat sometimes twice a week. What's interesting that I did want to point out is all the relatives that have came into our care organically, each one of them almost began, maybe they got here, today and tomorrow we have sweat. So it's like every single one of them that have came in the very next day or that day that they've arrived here, they've been able to sweat. So to me, seeing them enter that program, crawling into the lodge as like one of their first foundational components of their stay here, I think has been pretty amazing. And to see, we had a few of them that have came in and they were kind of racking their brain. Two of them specifically one of them said they had sweat when they were really young and it wasn't the best experience, so they kind of shied away just because of unfortunately they were chastised when they were young because they didn't know what they didn't know, and instead of people taking the time to like properly educate them, on why we don't do this or why we don't do that, they were kind of cursed up and yelled at and stuff. So they chose not to go back. But, them being here and them going into the lodge in the beginning, they were like, I have some fears, I have some reservations, maybe a little bit of resentment and stuff based on what had happened in the past. But they still did it and they completed it. And when they came out, they were like, that was probably the most amazing experience I've had culturally, within a ceremony. And, the next week they return. The week after that, they return. And nobody's been like, I didn't like that and I don't want to come back.
I mean, there's something important about making it safe. I mean, because, you know, at least the way I view it, it's something that's part of my life, right? It's not something we do to cure ourselves. It's not just like this experience we do it once or twice, and now we're cured, or like this is a great experience. It's part of our life
Hmm.
and a tool that we use. And so, I believe it's important for people to feel safe when they go into it. And when we're teaching them, if they make a mistake, you know, you don't make them scared of making a mistake. We teach it as a classroom, right?
Right.
I mean, and to me, that's part of this healing. It's having healthy men that understand ceremony, that allow you to make mistakes and teach you in a safe way. I mean, those are some of like even kind of a therapy idea. It's changing the way we communicate with each other, and a lot of people that are coming into relatives or anyone coming in new to ceremony, if they've had bad experiences, they're fearful of it, right? I mean, and really to heal people, they have to trust, and without trust, they're not going to open up.
Yeah, that goes back to the cognitive reframing we were just talking about, right? That person had a really bad experience with sweat when they were younger. They had negative feelings about it, and then their behavior was that they were just avoiding it after that. And then changing their thoughts about it, that it is a safe space and you don't know what you don't know. And we are here to help you and teach you and allow you that space to make mistakes, but also show you that you can do it the way it's supposed to be done too. It changes their feelings about it, and then it changes their behaviors. They're more willing to participate, and they have a different outlook on it
Right.
entirely.
Well, even praying, because when I've listened to some of these guys talk, because they're like, I don't know how to pray. I mean, that's something or we hear often, is when people come in, they're nervous about saying the wrong prayer, and to me, it's just saying something you're grateful for them, or asking for help. I mean, it's teaching them they have to learn the things that work for them in their journey,
Mhm.
and usually that's safety and um, having the space to learn healthy ways, or make mistakes.
Right.
I mean, that's what we were talking about before. We're creating a space of wellness and safety. I mean, it's kind of amazing at how many men you meet that are insecure and scared and feel like failures, and you know are just, I guess, demasculated. And it's like society's done it. They've done it to themselves. Communities have broken them down. Maybe relationships and continual failure. And the idea is to uplift people. And that takes a long time, right? I mean, we've seen it happen with even nephews or people that have come through sweat. It's a process that takes sometimes years, but it's starting with a safe place.
Hmm.
My favorite analogy is the living forest analogy, right? You plant a tree in a forest and it's surrounded by intergenerational trauma or substance use or mental health problems or racism, violence, all these things it's surrounded by. And this tree grows up only knowing that. And if you take the tree and you put it in a forest filled with love, and you put it in a forest filled with healing, and you have all these things around it that are encouraging it to grow and heal, it'll take a little while for that tree to recover. But it is able to heal, and then it's able to make more trees or affect the trees around it in that healing way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like when we use other therapies, I mean, it's really hard designing a treatment center because you are also obligated to use um, insurance standards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that affects the way we um, heal or work with any of our relatives that come in?
Yeah, and everybody has their own personal opinion on this, right? But from working in the field, I see a lot of healing in the parameters of what is seen as appropriate, right? And not just appropriate for the person. It's not client centered, as they call it in the insurance world, right? It is monetary centered. It is centered around, what can we get? What's the most bang for our buck? How can we get people in and out as fast as we can? And it's not really focused on those on the results.
Mm-hmm.
They want things to be done fast, and the that's the community we live in, the nation we live in, right? Things need to be done fast. They need to heal. People need to get back to work. We depend on money and
Take a pill,
yeah, take a pill, right?
you know?
And we lose the value of actually working with people for a long amount of time to be able to heal not only themselves but also the community around them.
Yeah. I mean, people need to have roots in a community really to heal themselves.
Right.
Right. I mean, when you have we talk about foundation, I mean, you need to be stable. And we know that lots of relatives are transient for a long in their addiction. They may not be living in the same houses. It's like they're moving from one place to another. Even with the insurance model, it's not designed for someone to live somewhere for 6 months, right? I mean, you're talking 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and there's this constant transition after 90 days, maybe into a sober living. And depending on the sober living models, they're only allowed to stay for so long.
Right.
I mean, and we know that there's enough evidence to show that long-term treatment centers will have a higher success rate. I mean, the best and the most successful treatment centers in our nation, and I think even globally, are 2 years long.
Yeah. You take someone in early recovery and they're fragile, right?
Mhm.
They're vulnerable. And you say, you're going to go here, you're going to work through everything in your past, you're going to work through everything you struggle with. And then in 1, 2, 3 months, you have to find somewhere else to live that's going to be, transient. Like they're going to go into a sober living where they have people coming in and out. You have to find a job. You have to figure out how to balance all these things. And they don't allow them the space to work through the things they need to work through and gain stability in that area to be able to handle juggling 10 other guys that they don't know coming in and out. Going to a job where it might be a dead end job, or they work really long hours, they don't know how to take care of themselves, they don't have the recognition for balance yet. And that's the repetitious cycle that we're stuck in.
And it's harder if you don't have family support. I mean, or even tribal support, but definitely family. I mean, I think that's a problem with poverty. When you come from an impoverished area, you don't have access to resources to allow you to get a job that's better or time to heal. And that's part of this generational problem. It's this cycle of poverty, which isn't always economic. Poverty is in a lot of different forms: cultural poverty, educational poverty, um, you know, and
Identity poverty.
yeah, exactly. And culture is the thing that we think that's part of this. I mean, that's where we're bringing in, I mean, ancestral wisdom, right?
Right. I think that's what separates us from, the modern recovery center is we are creating a place where our relatives can plant roots for long-term treatment, and not just treatment, but long-term life. We are a 2-year program and further than that.
And with that, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and wrap up and probably give you some good things to think about for the next podcast.
Oh,
I'm giving the people what they want in between.
Oh, welcome back to Controlled Fire. I'm your host, Arrow Funmaker, along with Hunter Thundercloud and Caprice Garcia.
Hi again.
Hey.
So, I think in this last segment we're going to talk about how you can get a hold of us, and maybe who should get a hold of us, and um, maybe after you get a hold of us, if you're a loved one or you need help, maybe we can explain the process.
Yeah. And involvement's really important. Thundermaker, as our team, we're doing a lot to advocate for this vision and for this change for our people, but also it takes other people out there wanting to get involved, wanting to be a part of, having ideas. We love collaborations. We have a specific form at thundermakerwellness.com that invites people to propose collaborations, to give us their ideas. We can get a hold of you. We can, talk about it.
Yeah, we love hosting people too. Like we've had many tribes come out and stay for a night or two and come take a tour. And I think that's really important. Is we're right in Prescott, Arizona, and any people ever traveling through, feel free to come by and meet our team and come take a tour.
And that's thundermaker.com. But I mean, if you were in crisis or someone um, is suffering from addiction in some way, and you think this is a good place, what would the steps for them to be able to come here?
Well, first of all, we just need to see, where they're at. We want to be a support. We know there's a vital time where someone is willing to come to us. So we're happy to be that bridge. If you have a loved one that's struggling, we're happy to talk to them, kind of see where they're at, what's going on, if they're a danger to themselves, where we can get them. You can reach us at our office number. You can call or text 928-531-1930. And we're just there to be a support. It looks different for everybody, right? There's someone who may be hiding their drinking from their significant other, and that's a concern. And there may be someone who's homeless on the street that has no support. So we're there to be that bridge and see if we can get them here with us, or if we can get them somewhere else. Because in the end, our goal is just to make sure people are safe and getting the help that they need.
I mean, and we do know, sometimes people are in crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually, they might only have a few hours, 24 hours, where they're willing to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is one of the things we struggle even working with tribes. It's if their behavioral health department isn't open, and that's one of their resources to send them here, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it depends on where they're at, right? Sometimes we just bring people out.
Mhm.
They're willing to come, get them out here, get them started, get them safe. That's really important because really it's about the people. It's about the people. And then sometimes they might be in a place where they're really a danger to themselves and they're not able to make it out to us. We have community partners all over the nation. We
Mhm.
know people we can call. We can get them into somewhere, whether that be, if they're having a psychiatric crisis, figuring that out. Um, the national line for suicide is 988. So there's always that.
Mhm.
And yeah, just being a resource.
Yeah, and really, that's one of the things we are is a resource. It doesn't you know we understand our programs not for everybody, but we have capability to bring other programs into the mix. Like we have good partnerships with other programs, and that we're trying to create multiple fires
We
all over
are.
the world, for recovery, and we want to be able to, have healthy networks of like-minded rehabs and recovery centers to where, if we're not able to take somebody, we have other partners that can. We
I mean,
just want survival of our people.
and we do have a nonprofit, which is Thundermaker Cultural Recovery, which we always need donations. I mean, I think everything we're doing takes money, and it's unfortunate, but that's just the society we live in. But when we when we're trying to build these communities, we're trying to help people, but it it feels like the more support we have, the more we can do, right?
Yeah, and there's a ton of ways that those donations go to use. Um, Getting someone out here, getting them the transportation they need in a time of desperation, scholarshiping people. So if they don't have a tribe that will help and they're not able to get on insurance and their family's not going to help them, it helps them come out here. It helps us with our, food sovereignty program. We got a grant for sovereign seeds, which was really cool. And then cultural recovery also does other things besides this. You guys donated to the Cayente's women's shelter. You took resources up to Navajo Nation. You travel around the nation speaking at conferences and going into schools and being part of that community of advocacy.
Hosted some films recently.
Yeah.
We're always pushing culture.
Mhm.
The films that we've pushed are surrounded around culture. People need access and the ability to see what's out there, right? So, like Caprice said earlier, it's creating the space. We're trying to create the space so that we can have community come
Mhm.
and be involved, right? Even with our relatives, we involve them in a lot of these things so they can see that there's different opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been able to travel in different parts of the country to different other programs, other events, cultural events. We took 2 vans out to California last year, and it was incredible. Being able to hear elders speak, and the feedback we got from our relatives was amazing. Like we don't have this opportunity back at home. This is the first time I've been able to get out of my comfort zone and shell and actually, hear some important messages that helped feed my recovery, my well-being, and overall health.
Yeah, and it's really centering on that, right? How can we do right by our relatives first? And then other things that we're working on, we want to expand our space,
Mhm.
right? We only have enough room for a certain amount of people, and
Mm-hmm.
there's always people that need help. Also, our culinary program, we're trying to make a commercial kitchen so that we can do community classes on food sovereignty. Uh, what else are we working on, guys?
Even this space. Designing and building a podcast studio. It's another way to advertise and give long form um, information about who we are, so you can maybe see um, where you're sending your people, whether it's your relatives or someone that's part of your tribe. It's important to understand and trust because this is life or death, right?
Right.
So you know, we're willing to make sure that people are safe. So, especially during crisis. I mean, Caprice, what's the phone number?
928-531-1930, and you can call or text on that one. And then, like I said, if someone that you know or yourself are thinking of hurting yourself or someone else, 988 is the National Suicide Hotline. You can talk to someone, they can help in an immediate crisis.
So,
Creating these spaces is important. We acknowledge and recognize that our way of life works, and it's beneficial, and it's reconnecting our people to their cultural roots. And change has to take place,
mhm.
and we want to foster that change, but we can't do it by ourselves. Like, we need help, we need community support, we need tribal support. We've been reaching out to a lot of tribes lately, trying to just advocate for this change that's necessary. And we need help, we need support, we need community. The only way to build community is with community. So
That's a great take. So, well, thank you for listening today to Controlled Fire.
Yeah, and you can reach out to us on Instagram, Thundermaker Wellness Center. You can reach out to us on our website, thundermakerwellness.com. Our nonprofit website is thundermakerculturalrecovery.com. You can email admin@thundermakerwellness.com. Call or text us 928-531-1930. We're there. We're out there. You can find us.
Come find us.
Yeah.
Come join us.
Mm-hmm.
oh